Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I was reading the paper earlier this week, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday, and in one of the articles I was reading, it referenced a letter that the Reverend Martin Luther King had written from his jail cell in Birmingham, Alabama. In that letter, Dr. King was expressing his frustration with the advice of his white Southern colleagues of the cloth. For years now, he said, I've heard the word wait. Every time I turn around, I hear the word wait. It rings in the ear of every Negro with piercing familiarity. This wait almost always means never. We have waited for more than 340 years, and we're asked to wait again. It reminded me of a nice little talking point that came across from Speaker Grassley, I think yesterday, that mentioned how he was so moved by what happened yesterday. Even though I saw no Republicans at the rally yesterday, he was moved by what happened, and he's going to take into consideration everything and talk to people and make sure that something happens. Just wait. I'm afraid that wait probably means never. Because as far as I know, he's not talked to anybody in our caucus. Just to people in his own caucus, probably. Those same people that have put together legislation in the past that I believe was detrimental to the minorities in our state. I believe that some of the actions and words from not only people in this body, but people around this state about looters and what we should do to looters doesn't give me much hope that anything is going to come out of this body, because you'll ask us to wait. I'm especially troubled when I hear those words, because even though I don't condone the violence that has happened, I understand it. Because in this country, we are charged with having basically a contract, a social contract, that we as people, we as citizens of this country, are expected to do certain things. And in return, this country will do certain things for us, and the state will do certain things for us. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this country and this state has broken that social contract with blacks across this state and blacks across this country. Because basically, it's turned into being a crime to be born black in this state. And it's our fault. Blacks are imprisoned more than 11 times more than whites. Although only 3.1% of Iowa's population is African American, 25.8% of the state's prison inmates are black. Blacks are over 7 times more likely to be arrested on marijuana charges, even though studies show that both groups, whites and blacks, use marijuana at nearly the same rate. 48.3% of blacks convicted of serious crimes, of serious drug charges, receive prison time, compared with 35.6% of whites. The median income of African American households in 2018 was $31,992. The median household income in this state during the same time period for everyone was $59,955. The poverty rate in 2018 for the African American population was 30.7%. The corresponding rate for Iowa is 11.2%. The coronavirus has hit Iowa's Black and Latino communities especially hard. While Black or African American Iowans make up 4% of the population, they make up 13% of COVID-19 cases as of Friday. Hispanic and Latino Americans make up 6% of the state's population, but 24% of the COVID-19 cases. Wait means never. It is the majority leader's intention to get out of here next week. It is the Speaker of the House's nice soundbite that we might do something if we can get agreement, and yet nobody's talking. Here's some stuff we can talk about, if you're interested. Representative Wilburn laid out 4 things that we talked about yesterday. We'd be more than happy to talk about that. The Iowa legislature also needs to ease minimum sentencing mandates for first and second degree robbery. Iowa has the most restrictive sentencing guidelines among all 11 Midwestern states for robbery charges. And during a 4-decade period, 42% of Iowa's inmates serving time for robbery were Black. We've also had many bills introduced by the Democratic caucus over the years that have been totally ignored. Bills like decriminalizing, not legalizing, but decriminalizing our marijuana laws. Putting an end once and for all of all racial profiling. Setting up uniform body camera rules across the state of Iowa. Making sure police live in the same neighborhoods that they patrol. Banning the box for employment. And setting up a blue ribbon commission on racial disparities, and then acting upon those results. There's been a lot of talk in this body over the years that I've been here on certain bills about certain people not being racist. I believe them, but that's not good enough anymore. You're either a racist or you're willing to do something to end racism. There's no in between anymore. This body needs to do something before we adjourn, whether it be next week or we're willing to stay here until it gets done, to start to mend the divide that we have and end the sickness that's plaguing this state, and to start living up to our end of a social contract that we have with all people of the state of Iowa. We can't time certain that one, Mr. Majority Leader. You can't be afraid to talk about it. Thank you.